Hey, I'm so happy to see you here for some yoga today. Hopefully Honey's gonna be willing to share the mat. When you're ready, you can get started either in child's pose, sitting on your heels, or sitting on your heels with your toes tucked. I'm gonna start there in toes pose, but either of those shapes. So either toes pose, opening up the soles of the feet, giving them a little love, virasana, just a seated posture, or child's pose if that feels more grounding, more anchoring, if you had an especially kind of busy moment right before this. Sometimes bringing more points of contact with your mat, with the ground, can be supportive for bringing a little bit of kind of stillness into the body before we get moving, as it is a vinyasa class. So wherever you choose to join me, go ahead and take a minute and just check in with your body. Maybe even closing the eyes down, starting immediately to breathe in a way that helps connect you with your body. And that could mean not changing a thing at all about the breathing, but just sending some more awareness into the breath, into the ebb and flow of prana, mindfully breathing in, mindfully breathing out. Take a few cycles of breath wherever you landed. As you do that, just gently scanning the body, letting go of any really obvious tension. Some tension might stay there, and that's okay, but sometimes we have like habitual and unconscious holding that happens for a lot of people in the jaw or brow and the temples, the sides of the neck, sometimes in the belly as well. And so if there's any kind of habitual and unconscious tension that you can soften, and start to do so just by breathing a little bit more awareness into those parts of the body. Maybe it's a shoulder or your tummy or a hip. And as you exhale, just making some space for whatever you feel. A few more cycles of breath, mindfully breathing into whatever's present, physically, emotionally, mentally. And exhaling, making space for yourself, for every part of you. If you're in a seat like me, you can bring your hands to your heart. If you're in child's pose, go ahead and connect the palms at the base of the skull with the fingers pointing up toward the ceiling. So bend the elbows and get a little stretch through the underarms. Setting up your practice as an offering, as an intention to really anything that you think of as greater than yourself, including just your highest self. So it could be to life itself, it could be to kind of this unseen goodness that exists in the world, and it could be to something more traditionally kind of spiritual in nature, if you have a religion or a faith practice, offering this practice up to that. And lastly, it could be a dedication that you make to someone or something that feels dear to your heart. And we'll use that intention to inspire this practice. When you're ready, you can blink your eyes open, make your way to your hands and your knees. So setting up in a tabletop position with the shoulders over the wrists and the knees under the hips. Go ahead and drop the belly down, tilt the tailbone up, and then inhale as you lift the chin, finding a cow stretch. Push into your fingertips. On your exhale, tuck the tailbone toward the knees, and then draw the chin in toward the chest as you round the back with the ribs lift. Move through those two shapes a couple times, inhaling to find cow and open up through the belly and the chest. Exhale as you find cat, putting some space between the vertebrae. Just a couple more here, kind of easing into it, noticing what's going on in the spine. If it feels good, you might nod the head from side to side or involve the hips. So letting it be kind of a freestyle movement. And then set up a strong spine here, so nice long from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Spread out the fingers once more. And then float the right leg back behind you. Bend the right knee, point the toes, and then lift the chest and the chin As you bring that right thigh higher, imagine the right toes touching the back of your head. Deep breath in. Right knee toward your chest as you exhale. Squeeze. Inhale, bring that toe up, lift the chin up. Twice more, knee to your chest on the exhale. Good, focus on the breath. Keep the knee in toward the chest. Tuck the left set of toes under. Lift the left knee, totally into strength right away. Straighten that right leg back, bend the elbows. And then straighten the arms, bring the right knee into the chest. One more of those, so we're building heat right away. Bend the elbows, kick the right leg back, and then straighten the arms, squeeze the knee in, keep the knee in. Rotate to the outer edge of the left foot. Right foot comes down behind you for a wild thing variation. Find some opening here, support yourself with your breath, and with an awareness of the points of contact in your bottom hand and both of your feet. Nice long inhale. Take it back to a high push-up. Rock forward so the shoulders shift past the wrists. Drop the knees, drop the chest, drop the chin, lower down. Take it into Sphinx, bringing your elbows right underneath the shoulders. Turn the palms up, so let the wrists and the fingers and the palms breathe for a moment. The eyes might close down. Start to work into an Ujjayi breath. So you probably noticed pretty quickly that we needed a little bit of breath in this practice. Focusing on just a tiny constriction in the throat, so you can direct that flow of prana really mindfully. Couple more breath cycles here. If it feels good to bring some movement into the chin, you can nod the head side to side, or rotate the chin down toward the chest, making little half circles. Come through the center, flip the palms back down. Slide the hands off of the mat about a foot away from the shoulders, and then roll up into a cobra. Bent elbows the whole time here. It's kind of like a rectangular shape that you're making between the arms and the mat. Slowly rolling back down. 2 more roll-ups here, just oscillating into some extension in the spine, some energy in the legs. Lowering back down. Nice easy range of motion. Maybe you just come up a few inches. Maybe you come all the way up onto the belly or the hips. And then lower back down. Bring the hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes under. Press back to your tabletop position. Lift the left leg, arch the spine, bend the knee, point the toes. Lift the chest and the chin, breathe in. And then knee toward the chest as you breathe out. 2 more, focusing on that breath. Now see if you can control the movement so there's a little pause at the top of the inhale and a little pause at the end of the exhale. Hold the knee in the chest. Here we go, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, strong in that back leg. Straighten the leg, bend the elbows. Straighten the arms, bring the knee in. 2 more, bend elbows, straight leg. Straight arms, bent knee. Whew, last one. Knee to the left underarm, rotate to the right foot. Take it into your wild thing, couple deep breaths here. See if you can shrug the shoulders down the back, especially that top arm. Even though you're reaching the fingertips forward, pull that top shoulder onto the back of the ribs. Breathe in. High push-up, rock forward. Lower all the way down to your chest. This time, walk the hands a foot away from the mat in each direction. Oscillate Cobra up on the inhale. Dip the right shoulder toward the midline as you exhale. Look toward the left hand or the left elbow. Inhale, come back to the center. Left shoulder dips to the center, look toward the right elbow. Each side again, inhale, center. Exhale, right elbow and shoulder dip. Center, breathe in. Drop the left shoulder to the middle as you empty. Cobra through the middle. Hold your cobra here. Press into the tops of the feet and the toenails. Keep the chest lifted. And then release the arms to the low back. You can reach back through the fingers, or if you want to find a bind, interlace the fingers, stack the right thumb on top of the left. Lengthen the neck. So more space between the shoulders and the earlobes. 1 more big breath in. And then release the hands underneath the chest. Press to your hands and your knees. Tuck the tailbone, or tuck the toes rather. Lift the hips, finding downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here, pedaling out your down dog if that feels good, or swaying the hips side to side. Be real present with your foundation, so really deliberate as you spread out your fingers and grip into the fingertips and the base of your thumbs. It might feel good to tuck the chin toward the chest, lengthen out the back of the neck. Look toward your thumbs, rock the shoulders over the wrists, lift the heels, and then see if you can keep your legs straight, hugging through your core as you tiptoe your feet to the top of the mat, pushing the hands down. Once you get to the top of the mat, find a halfway stretch, palms onto the shins, inhaling. And then catch hold of the calves as you exhale. Take that forward fold, lift the shoulders toward the hips. Halfway stretch again, deep breath in. And then chest to thighs as you breathe out. Take your time to roll up to standing. Inhale, reaching the fingers overhead. And then go ahead and catch the right wrist. Take a side bend over to the left, pressing into the right foot. You can, or pressing into the left foot rather, step the right foot over to the left. Send the hips over to the right here, and then see if you can rotate that top elbow up toward the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. Step the right foot back underneath the right hip. Inhale, the arms up. And then catch the left wrist, find a side bend. You can keep your feet anchored, or if you like, step the left foot over the top of the right, pressing the hips to the left, breathing into the sensations of the side bend. Feet under the hips, inhale the arms up. If you want, you can look up, engage the legs, squeeze the glutes, and then bring your hands to your heart center. Soften the shoulders down onto your back. Recommitting to that intention, that dedication, or that offering to something bigger than just you, including your highest self. On an inhale, blink the eyes open if they were closed, reach up through the fingertips, and then hinge at the hips, generously bend your knees as you fold forward. Halfway stretch here, take a breath in, step your right foot to the back of the mat, release the right knee down. Inhale your arms up, the right toes can be tucked or untucked. And then as you exhale, bring your left hand to the middle of your shoulders or the base of your neck. Right fingers reach to catch that left elbow. Tuck the tailbone, thrust the hips forward, and then just the upper body moves. So use your legs to keep you stable, and then just find that nice side bend through left side body. Inhale, both of your arms come back up. Bring the left forearm to the left thigh, reach the right arm up and over. Same thing in the base, in the legs. Core is gently engaging. For me, I feel my right glute on a ton. If you don't feel the right glutes, make sure that your hips are stacked over the right knee so that you're not pulling forward here. In a really supportive base. Come through the center, reach up through the fingertips, breathe in. And then plant the hands, step the left foot back to meet the right, or float the left leg into a 3-point high plank. Bend the elbows, left leg stays straight, and then cobra or upward facing dog on the inhale. Downward facing dog on the exhale. Right leg floats high, big breath in, stretch through the toes. Step your right foot through, drop the left knee down. Inhale the arms up, left toes can tuck or untuck. And then bring that right hand to the base of your skull or between the shoulders. Left fingers catch the right elbow. Same thing here, do that little adjustment. So you lengthen the tailbone down toward the back knee. Thrust the hips forward. See if you can find the left glutes. Keep the legs stable and then take your side bend, guiding that right elbow to the left. Notice if the chest starts to collapse forward. See if you can spiral it up a little bit. Inhale the arms up, right forearm, right thigh, side bend to the left. This time you're lifting through the inside of the left elbow, maybe letting the right ear drop toward the right shoulder. Bring the arms up through the center, lots of length in the side body, breathe in. And then hands frame the front foot, step the left foot to meet the right. Halfway stretch, take a breath in, lots of energy. Fold forward as you exhale. Go all the way up on that in-breath, reaching for the ceiling. Bring the hands to your heart, mind back to your offering or dedication. Inhale, arms up. And then bow forward as you empty. This time if you want to play with straight legs, just go a little slower, bend the knees anytime your body asks you to. Halfway stretch, shift the weight to the right foot. Step the left foot to the back of the mat. Release the left knee down. Inhale the arms up. And then this time, go ahead and let the hips kind of melt forward toward that front heel. If you start to feel any pain, you've gone a little too far, so you can back off. We're just looking to get into the hip flexors. Feel free to tuck or untuck the back toes. In fact, go ahead and try untucking the left toes. A little extra challenge here. Press into the top of the left foot and then lift that left knee. So lots of energy in the sole of the right foot, and then pressing into the big toe mound and the right heel as you lift the left knee up. One more long inhale. If you need more, look up at your hands. And then release the back knee if you lifted it. Frame the front foot, straighten the right leg as you hinge the hips up and back for Hanumanasana. About 3 cycles of breath here. Feel free to let the eyes close. Do a gentle little body scan again for any places where maybe unconsciously you started to hold in the jaw, in the neck, in the eyes. You can point and flex the right foot if that feels good to warm up the ankle and move the stretch around. And then we're going to roll back into that supported crescent. This time tucking the left set of toes under, reaching the arms up. Find your balance as you root down through the base of the right big toe and then lift that back knee. So full crescent lunge here, steering that left hip forward, softening the shoulders back away from the ears. Big breath in, maybe taking your eyes up. You might wobble a bit if you do. And then high plank to low plank, float the right leg if you want. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog on the exhale. Left leg will lift from there. Point the toes if that feels good. Long in-breath, pressing into your hands. Step the left foot between the thumbs. Drop the back knee down. Inhale the arms up. And then start to let the hips hinge forward, taking it in to that deeper hip stretch here. Untuck the right toes, even if you're not going to lift the knee. If this bothers your knee, go ahead and keep the toes tucked. You can also always pad the mat, sliding something like a blanket or even doubling your mat over underneath that right knee. Take a lot of the pressure off of that joint, depending on the kind of surface that you're practicing on. So just like most things yoga, you want something between firm and squishy. Just like the asana, we want something between stira and sukha, between strength and effort and sweetness and ease. Nice big breath in. If you're going for that extra challenge, press into the top of the right foot and the big toe mound of the left, including the left heel, lifting that right knee up. Big sensation stretch, looking toward your hands if you want. Breathe in. Release the hands down, frame that front foot, straighten the left leg, Hanumanasana. Cycles of breath here, supporting your body with prana, and helping center your mind, just mindfully breathing in. Anytime you want, open mouth exhale. One more breath cycle. From here, we're going to find crescent lunge. You can start with supported crescent. Tuck the back toes under. Press through the base of the big toes and both feet, really. And then lift that back knee up. Nice big breath in right here. We're going to find a forward fold at the top of the mat. Use your hands to help you. Step the right foot forward to meet the left. Halfway stretch, breathing in for that little rebound of energy with the head. And then fold forward on your exhale. Take your time to go all the way up to stand. Inhale, stretch, expand. And then bring the hands to your heart center. Take it into chair pose here. Touch the fingers down if you want to challenge that depth of your hips. Keep the hips there and then reach the arms forward. Squeeze the thighs and the inner ankles together. So it gets a little easier if you happen to have real long arms, right? Your fingers are gonna touch a little sooner. Don't be too hard on yourself. Your chair could be any degree of bend and hinge and flex in the knees and the hips and still have a ton of benefit if you bring the right state of mind. 3 more deep breaths. Energy reaching through the tips of the fingers, but softening through the shoulders. Big inhale. On an exhale, stand up, bring your hands to your heart. Take it back into chair just for a breath this time. So sweep the fingers down if you like, inhale, and then fold forward as you exhale. Take a halfway stretch, breathe in, and then high plank to low plank. If you want, feel free to float back to chaturanga if that's in your practice. If you want, feel free to step straight into downward facing dog and skip this part of the vinyasa. From down dog, pick up your right leg, take a breath in. We're gonna step straight into crescent lunge. Keep the left heel and knee lifted. Bring the arms up, stacking the wrists over the shoulders on your inhale, and then open arm twist to the right. Right arm comes back. Feel free to bend the elbows a bit here. This can bring a little bit more space into the nerves and some of the tendons. Might just feel a lot more spacious in the body and stretching through the arms. We're gonna come back to crescent lunge. Inhale. If you want, you look up at the hands and then pivot the back heel down. Find warrior 2. Take a few deep breaths here in your Vira 2. Opening the hips, encouraging that front knee toward the right little toe. Eyes over the front fingertips, softening your gaze to one point in front of you. Breath in motion here, straighten the front knee, inhale the arms up. Maybe the palms touch or the wrist comes straight over the shoulders. And then exhale back into warrior 2. Take it a little lower if you can and bring the shoulders back. Inhale, straighten the front knee, reach the arms up. One more warrior 2, bend the front knee, shrug the shoulders down your back body. Inhale, reach the arms up. This time rotate the chest toward the top of the mat, pivot your back heel up, and then we're gonna float into an airplane. Bring the arms toward the side, maybe drag the left toes onto the mat for a bit until you find that engagement of the core, float that left leg up. Take a couple deep breaths here, lengthening the sides of the neck, reaching actively through the fingertips with the palms facing down, like there's a shelf right underneath your fingers that you're pressing the hands into. Feel that action in the upper back behind the heart. You're gonna bring the left knee to the chest and the arms up. Inhale, really big flexion through that left knee and hip. And then bend the elbows on the exhale, lift the chest, a little bit of extension in the back. Reach the arms up, kick the left leg straight as you breathe in, point the toes out. Squeeze through the front quads. Your leg might come up not so high at all, this is fine. Feel the energy in the front of the left hip and thigh. Big breath in. Cartwheel the hands down as you float the left leg back or up into standing splits. So the left leg could come straight back. It might kind of float up, playing with that range of motion. Drop the head and the neck if you can, releasing the neck and the jaw. Always a nice place to nod your chin side to side, or even open your mouth and move the hinges of your jaw around. One more long inhale, energy through the top foot, and then let's step the left foot wide at the top of the mat, coming into Malasana, Yogi squat. Toes can point forward, so feet can be parallel, or you can rotate the toes out. Bring the elbows to the insides of the knees, lengthen out the spine here, and then use the arms Just encourage that stretch in the inner thighs and the hips. And keep pushing into the feet. See if you can keep your legs in place. You can keep the arms here, or if you want, take the arms up and keep that big stretch in the hips. Nice, very big inhale. And then let's take a forward fold, fingers down, hips up, head down. Walk the feet a little closer together here. Finding your halfway stretch, breathe in. High push up to low push up, nice long exhale. Through your vinyasa, focus on the breath. And then back to downward facing dog. This time the left leg comes high. Breathe in. Step the left foot forward. Full crescent lunge. Back leg is strong. Really lift the muscles behind the right knee. And then open arm twist to the left. Keep reaching the crown of the head up away from the tailbone. Remember, you can bend the elbows to find some more space. Think about bringing the shoulders back. Crescent lunge, inhale. Warrior two, pivot that back heel down. Set your eyes as soon as you can, somewhere softly on the horizon, out past your left fingertips. And then we're gonna pump the breath here, really working breath in motion. Straighten the left knee and the arms up, inhale. Warrior two, exhale. One more. Straighten the front, reach the arms up, spin the chest, float the back heel up, and then drive the right toes forward as you hinge the hips, coming into airplane. Tuck the tailbone a tiny bit here to support the lower back. Always a nice option to bend the standing knee just a little bit if you're not locking that knee or using the muscular strength of the left glutes and hamstrings. Reaching the fingertips back as you shrug the shoulders onto the back of the ribs. Slow motion, right knee to the chest, arms up. Flex at the hip and the knee and the ankle, so triple flexion in that right leg. And then bend the elbows, lift the chest. Straighten the arms, kick that right leg forward, pointing the toes. Remember, the leg could be down. You could even have the right toes down on the floor, but engage through the front of the right thigh. Nice long inhale. Standing splits, cartwheel the hands down, plug into your standing leg, lifting the right foot high, dropping the head low. 3 centering breaths. Notice where you're efforting a lot. Notice if it's helping or if it's unconsciously making it harder than it needs to be. One more. Lifting through that top leg and foot, and then Malasana at the top of the mat. Remember, heels can turn in and toes can turn out, or you can keep the feet parallel and widen them out. Couple deep breaths here, plugging your thumbs right up against the sternum, pressing the elbows against the knees to encourage that stretch, and then keeping the hips stretched, perhaps taking the arms up. Keep pushing into the feet if you do that to find all of that same activation through the legs. Inhale, and then fold forward as you exhale. Walk the feet a bit closer together here, hips distance, not all the way together. And then take your peace fingers and loop them between the big toe and the second toe. Then bring the thumbs to connect with the tips of those first 2 fingers. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. Lift the head, pulling the chest forward. Take a huge breath in here. Keep the bind as you fold forward, straightening your legs, dropping your head, letting the head and the neck release. Pull up with your fingers that have that bind around your toes, but push down through the big toe and the big toe mounds. See if you can shrug the shoulders away from the ears toward the hips. We'll do a cleansing breath called lion's breath. So it's an inhale through the nose, and then an open mouth exhale, traditionally with the tongue sticking out, reaching the tip of the tongue for the chin and crossing the eyes. Feel free to add all those pieces in or to just take a big open mouth exhale. So nice big breath in through your nose. Lion's breath. One more here, breathe in. Lion's breath or open mouth exhale. Release the bind. Heel toe your feet a bit closer together. Palms to the shins. Inhale as you find that rebound stretch. And then fold forward on the exhale. Rise all the way up as you breathe in. Stretch and lengthen through the fingertips. This time interlace your hands at your lower back. Bend the knees a little bit. Lift the chest and the chin. Inhale. And then fold forward with the bind as you exhale. Push into your feet. We're going to find chair pose. Breathe in. And then lightning chair. So the arms are like airplane as you breathe out. So you can sit a little lower, tuck the tailbone a tiny bit. Inhale the arms back into chair. And then lightning on the exhale. 3 more cycles here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Strong connection between the feet and the mat. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Breathe in. Lightning chair. Hold your lightning chair. Lift up onto the tippy toes if you can. And then slow motion. Lower your hips to your heels. Bring the arms out to a T. Roll the chest up. The arms are wide here. And then bring the palms together in front of you. Take a long breath in. You're going to backstroke the right arm on the exhale. Inhale the right hand back to meet the left. Exhale, backstroke the left arm. Inhale the left palm to meet the right. And then exhale your hands toward your feet. Forward fold, heels down. Halfway stretch, breathe in. And then vinyasa, however you want to get to downward facing dog. Next place we'll meet up. Take it through the flow. Add on a couple more restorative or grounding shapes. And that's it. Right leg goes high. Breathe in. Step forward as you empty. Crescent lunge. Finish your inhale. Reach up through the fingers. If you want more, you look up. Open arms to the right. Come back to crescent. Breathe in. Warrior 2, spin the back heel down. Star pose, straighten the front knee and the arms up on the inhale. Warrior 2, twice more. Nice with breath. Last star, big inhale here. And then airplane as you empty. Hold your airplane. This time flex that back foot, bend the left knee. Keep flexing the foot, tuck the tailbone. It's totally okay to grab hold of the hips. Tiny tuck to the tailbone, so you're asking your core to support you here. And then either keep the hands at the hips or bring them out into a W shape. So W is like cactus, but you've got the elbows pulling in toward the sides of the waist, and then lift the palms up past the shoulders if you can. Pulse that left heel up. 10, 9, lots of glute activation. 7, little bend in the right knee. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it up on 1, big squeeze. Left knee's gonna come to the chest, arms up over your head. Breathe in. Bend the elbows, lift your heart, little back bend. Straighten the arms and the front leg. Inhale. Take it into standing splits as you exhale. Stay in standing splits. Big breath in. And then drop into Malasana, that yogi squat at the top. This time you're going to keep the left hand down and reach the right arm up and open. Lengthen the crown of the head away from the sternum. You can stay right here with the hips low, that right arm up. Or you can find a bind, maybe a half bind, bending the right elbow, turn a little bit to the side. So that right hand comes toward the low back or the outer edge of the left hip. If you feel like it might happen for you, you can start to bring the left hand around the outside of the left leg and then find the fingers or even the wrists. No matter what bind you have, focus on lengthening the crown of the head away from the sternum. And I should say no matter what bind you have or don't have, lengthen the crown of the head away from the sternum. If you bound, reach that right arm back up, breathe in. Bring the right hand down underneath the right shoulder. Start to shift the weight to the right foot. We're going to find balancing half moon. So you're balancing on the right foot and the right fingers, lifting the left limbs up and open, stretching and strengthening through those lifted limbs. So your left arm and leg are not dead weight. Engage muscularly. Couple deep breaths here. If you need a little challenge, you can play with floating the right fingers up off of the mat. Slow motion, start to bend the front knee. We're gonna step into reverse warrior, dropping the left foot to the back of the mat. Reach the right arm up. Little bend in the right elbow, so the right hand comes toward the back of the head. And then maybe catch the right elbow with the left hand for your little bind stretch. Breathing into the sensation of the opening through the right side ribs. Look towards your back foot. We're going to take it into Skandasana. So start to straighten the front leg, pivot the left toes and knee toward the left, bend and melt the hips down. You can absolutely bring your hands down for some support and balance. The left heel might lift up, you might sink down. A few other options. If you have somewhere that you want to go that feels good, find it and breathe. You can come back to Anjali Mudra, back to this dedication or intention. Maybe play with warrior two arms. Maybe find that same bind that we did in Malasana around the outside of the left leg. More important than anything about the physical posture is a state of mind. Use your breath to bring some ease into your experience, to bring some celebration for the fact that you're here in this moment, connected with your body. A little bit of a tricky transition. We're going to take it into half butterfly. So it might help to use the hands. You're going to end up rolling to the back of the right leg, right hamstring and glute. Sit down onto your butt, bring the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Lift the chest, lift the arms. Imagine your left underarm moving down toward the outside of your right calf. So that should rotate your chest as you take your forward fold, frame your front leg. Couple deep breaths here. Let the head drop. Maybe even slowly nodding your chin from shoulder to shoulder, getting a little release through that axial occipital joint. Closing the eyes if that feels welcome. And then just feeling in to the cycles of breath as they come and go, kind of like waves at the beach. The tide flowing in and out. Every once in a while, maybe there's a little bit of a bigger wave, right? You take a little bit deeper breath, maybe an open mouth exhale. And start to lift the head, walking the hands back, lifting the chest up. We're gonna add a side bend here, so that right hand is gonna come to the left knee or thigh. Rotate the chest toward the left, reach the right arm up. So the chest is rotated toward that bent knee. And then you're gonna start to lean that top fingertip forward, top fingertips forward toward your right foot. And you might reach, you might not, but think about rotating that top elbow up. Something that can help is to actually interlace your hands, catch the nape of your neck or the base of your skull with your left hand, and then gently bring the skull away from some of those cervical vertebrae so there's some space and length there. Taking the side bend with the hand supporting the head there. Breathe into the sensations of the stretch. Notice if you're forcing anything. See if you can find that sweet spot, kind of like Goldilocks, where it's not too much, but it's not too little, just right. Slow motion, come up. We'll take full butterfly now, so bring the right foot to meet the left. Press the pinky toe sides of the feet together, the outer edge of the heels together, and reach the arms forward. Strong spine, start to hinge at the hips. Keep reaching the arms forward, keep pushing the knife edges of the feet together to let the big toe sides of the feet and the inner arches peel open along with the knees. Let gravity pull the knees down. Help gravity out a little bit here, and then release the hands to the feet or the ankles or wherever. Maybe the forearms come to the mat. Just breathing. Two more cycles of breath. Breathing into the sensations or the resistance, and then exhaling, just finding some space for whatever you feel. Lift the head, the neck, the shoulders up. Bring the knees together. Go ahead and cross your ankles. You're gonna rock forward. to a high push-up, hands and knees, taking it through a vinyasa or skipping the vinyasa. And the next place we'll meet is in downward facing dog. When you land in down dog, left leg lifts, big breath in, step forward, set up your foundation, then find crescent lunge, finish the pose, finish the inhale. Open arms to the left, back to crescent, breathe in. Warrior two, back heel spins down. So we're gonna move breath in motion. Inhale, straighten the front knee, reach the arms up, palms touch. Warrior two on the exhale, shoulders go back. One more. Inhale, and then set up for your airplane. Rotate the chest and that back heel up. Drag the right toes forward. Maybe adjust your stance. Steer the right hip down so it's level with the left. Flex the right foot, tuck the tailbone, bend the right knee. Re-tuck the tailbone, bend the elbows, or you can bring your hands to your hips if that helps you find that alignment. So either W shape or that little self-adjustment, and then pulse the right heel up. 10, 9, 8. Find a little pause at the top. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it up and squeeze on 1. Right knee to your chest, arms up. Big breath in here. Bend the elbows, lift the chin, open the front of the throat. Arms up, straighten that right leg, breathe in. And then standing splits as you breathe out. Nice long inhale. Back into Malasana. Stepping the feet wide, maybe angling the toes out. This time the left hand comes up. Lengthen the crown of the head away from the sternum. Melt the hips and the tailbone down. And then maybe you play around with a half or a full bind. Maybe just feeling into the sensations in your body, letting the breath guide you, letting the practice be good enough, however it's unfolding. So there's that sweet spot between striving and going really easy on ourselves with our effort. We're gonna set up half moon. So if you're bound, unbind. Left hand comes down, shift the weight to the left foot. Right limbs lift, peeling the body open toward the right. Imagine sliding that right hip all the way on top of the left. And flex the right toes and look back. See if you can bring your toes into your field of vision. Usually to do that, you've got to lengthen through the tailbone, engage through the core. We're going to take it into reverse warrior. Step the right foot to the back of the mat, deep bend the left knee, left arm comes up, and then bend the left elbow, left hand to the shoulder blades or the back of the neck. Right fingers catch that top elbow, breathe. Continue to press through the knife edge of the back foot to slide the left ankle, or slide the left knee rather, in line with the ankle, and then angle the knee out toward the little toes. You can keep the bind or not, but we're going to take it into Skandasana at the back. Straightening the front leg, pivoting the toes, bending the back knee, pivoting the toes, hands to the heart, to the mat, out, or binding that right leg. 3 cycles of breath here. See if you can set the eyes to one point. If you're in Anjali Mudra, I recommend the fingertips. Awesome, we're gonna set up half butterfly. So we're rolling the weight to the left hamstring and left glute. Bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Inhaling the arms up, right underarm toward the left little toe as you fold forward, framing out that foot. If you feel anything wonky in the back of the leg, if you have any kind of sciatic stuff, my left leg is always a little interesting feeling. I sometimes have to be a little bit extra gentle with it. Please bend that knee. And you can let the chest kind of melt toward the thigh. Just letting yourself kind of fold in to whatever degree your body welcomes. Mindfully breathing into whatever sensations or even thoughts arise. As you exhale, just making space for it, making space for yourself and all of the facets of yourself. Take your time to lift up. We'll keep the legs, left hand, right knee. Right arm comes up, rotate to the right. And then lean the upper body for that side bend to the left. Right fingertips reaching for that front foot, or the right hand at the base of the head, supporting the skull gently but firmly, tugging the skull away from those upper cervical vertebrae. And then finding that same big opening, lifting that top elbow. Another long breath in. Stay with the side bend as you empty. Take it through the center. This time, straighten your legs out in front of you. Actually, I'll give you a couple options. So you can straighten the legs out in front of you here. Or again, if you have a lot of sciatic stuff or tension, you can absolutely sit on something. Or I really like the variation of taking a wide leg forward fold. So either straight legs or wide legs, fold forward. Either bent knees or straight. If you've got a wide leg straddle, you can play with keeping the feet flexed until you feel pretty stable and secure, and then play with relaxing the feet. We'll be here for a nice handful of breaths. If you need a mantra while you're here, I like the really traditional mantra is so hum on the inhale. Just mentally saying to yourself the word so, it's a Sanskrit word. And on the exhale, the word hum, kind of a vibration in the throat or the jaw. And the meaning is roughly I am. It's just kind of this seed affirmation, this seed mantra of consciousness. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. Eyes soft or closed. Another few cycles of breath through the nose or through the mouth. Notice if you can bring a little bit more flexion through the hips or through the spine. And notice if you've taken it a little bit too far, and if you can just humbly and compassionately breathe into a variation of the posture that feels more sustainable and therapeutic. It's like that Goldilocks principle when we think about, if you were Goldilocks and you were trying on, what was it, like Papa Bear's bed or something, and it's too firm, and Mama Bear's bed is too soft, and you get in Baby Bear's bed and it's just ready, and you wouldn't make yourself be in either of the other two that didn't feel so good. So it's that same kind of discernment and compassion, knowing that the practice works just fine without us pushing more than necessary. One more cycle of breath, perhaps a nice open mouth exhale, letting go of any of that unconscious holding. And then lifting yourself up slowly from either forward fold. If the legs are wide, bring the legs back together. Bend the knees, plant the feet, bring the hands back behind you. The fingers can point out or back, whatever feels good, and then just super slow windshield wipers with the knees here. Sometimes if you move slow, you can release something a little bit more gently. I'm oftentimes like in a rush to make it feel better. And the body, paradoxically or ironically, I'm not sure which one is right to say here, but it responds better sometimes to a little bit more slow, deliberate, mindful movement. Cool. Plant the feet, lower down onto your back. You can make that hard if you want to do a little core roll down, by all means. Reach the arms back over your head. Feet are still underneath the knees. Take a very big breath in here. Press into the feet. Lengthen out through the tailbone. And then open mouth, exhale. Relax the hips. Bring the right knee in toward the chest. You can interlace your fingers a couple inches below that right knee. Left knee can stay bent, or if you want, you straighten the leg out. Maybe rotate the right ankle a couple times slowly in both directions. Maybe just feel into that compression. Keeping the elbows bent, trying to bring the upper arms tight and toward the sides of the body without tensing the shoulders into the ears. And then extend the leg toward the ceiling. You can point and flex the foot if you want. You can add a little forward fold here if you like, bringing the head toward the knee. And then bend the left knee if you had straightened it. We'll set up a figure 4 here, crossing the right ankle over the top of the left thigh. Little energy in the right foot. You don't have to flex it super firm or anything, but just put a little energy there. And then either keep the left foot down or reach for the left hamstring or the left shin. Relax through the head and the neck. If you've caught hold of the left leg somewhere, see if you can keep pulling the hip creases down toward the top of the mat. Keep lengthening the lower back downward. Mindfully breathing into the sensations of the stretch, making space for your experience. One more cycle of breath. Tee the arms as you cross the right knee all the way over the left. And in fact, you can bend the right elbow into a goalpost if you'd rather, and then use the left hand to guide the crook of your right knee into your twist. So knees go left. Breathing into that little spiral of energy from the tailbone, through the pelvis and the hips and the waist and the ribs. If it feels okay with the neck, nod your chin toward your right shoulder. Maybe even lifting your head so that you can put a little bit more space between your chin and your right shoulder, and then releasing the head back down. You come through the center, untangle the knees, pause for a moment. Just notice any difference between the right and the left hip. And then the left knee can come into the chest. Interlace your fingers around that left knee. Right leg might straighten out, might not. Left ankle rotates if that feels good. Keep the bend in the elbows, pulling the arms toward the sides of the body so you find some compression. So the right side that we just did, we're stimulating the ascending large intestine. And this side, the left side, we're stimulating the descending and really getting into some compression for all of the organs in that lower abdominal cavity. Extend the left leg toward the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. Point and flex the foot a couple times if that feels nice. Stay here, or I'm going to stay here, but know that you can lift the head, the neck, the shoulders, and bring your nose toward your knee. Maybe walk the hands toward the left ankle. If you lift it into a forward fold variation, go ahead and relax the head and the neck back down. Right foot plants under right knee. Set up your figure 4, crossing the left ankle over the top of that thigh. Gently flexing the foot. And then staying right there. Or if you need a little bit more sensation for it to feel meaningful, right? If this is like the too soft mattress, you reach for somewhere on the right leg, shin or hamstring. And if you catch, pull the hip creases gently back toward the top of the mat so you're not lifting the lower back a bunch here. Nice mindful breaths. And release the left arm either into a T or a cactus. Left knee crosses right knee. Use your right hand to guide the knees to the right. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, nod your chin toward your left shoulder. Readjust if you need. Just a handful of breaths, letting these final spinal twists be like a little rinse cycle for the central channel of energy. It's like a rechargeable battery or something, that central channel that's roughly like around the spinal column. In Sanskrit we call it Sushumna. Spinal twists are nice ways to kind of neutralize anything funky that's going on around it so that it can run a little bit more pure or clean. Come back through the center. If there's any other postures that you need the knees to the chest one last time. In fact, that feels really good. We're setting up for Shavasana, so if you're good to go, go ahead and work your way there. Otherwise, bring the knees to the chest and then lift up. See if you can catch the opposite elbows, wrapping the forearms around the shins. If that's not going to happen, you can bring the hands underneath the knees and pull the legs in toward the chest. Sometimes it feels better to have that hip socket more externally rotated. Take a deep breath in, point the toes, but bend at the knees and squeeze in through the thighs. And then gently release one leg at a time into Shavasana. Letting the arms drop down by your side. Shrugging your shoulders underneath your heart. You might tuck the chin like 1/8 of an inch so the back of the neck feels nice and long. Make any little adjustments that you need to feel supported here, and then know that if this posture is hard for you, this is the point where you're like, okay, I'm good, I did my yoga. See if you can just take a handful of breaths to celebrate that you practiced. So Shavasana is like a love letter to your body and to your mind for getting on board. Taking Shavasana and really kind of replaying the good stuff of your practice, like a little home video or something in your mind, is a powerful way to plant some karmic seeds to ensure that there's a better probability that you'll practice again in the future. It's also just a nice thing to do for your nervous system. See if you can smooth the brow, let that relaxation stretch off into the temples and then kind of flow all the way down the front side of the body, relaxing the throat, the chest, the belly, the thighs, down into the tops of the feet. And we'll be here just for a few moments in silence. If you've got longer to linger in Shavasana, feel free to shut off the tape and do your thing. Otherwise, I'll call us out together in just about a minute. While you're still in Shavasana, if you're breathing Ujjayi breath at this point, let it go. No more control or constriction. The last little moments of a little scan to find any of that unconscious tension or holding soften. And bring your awareness really back into the space that you're practicing. You can keep the eyes closed, but see if you can feel the floor underneath you once more. Feel the temperature of the air, or maybe if there's a fan or a heater or anything on, just feel that these little vibrations of the air around you. And very slowly start to create some movement, maybe through the feet, ankles, wrists, toes, fingers. Knot the head side to side. Nice slow transition when you're ready from your back to a seat. Coming back into Anjali Mudra. So this gesture that we started with the palms together at the heart. Uniting the right and the left side of the body. So those side channels of energy, bringing them into unity, into yoga, yoking them. And then also remembering the intention that we set around letting this practice be an offering to something greater than the small ego self, maybe to another being or creature or cause, maybe to whatever invisible goodness you're connected to, something, anything really at all. Just planting that with a lot of awareness into your heart. We'll close with a big cleansing breath here together. So Inhale, brightening up through the spine, from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head, holding just for a moment at the top, maybe sipping in a little bit more breath. And then with controlled breath, exhale through the mouth or the nose. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. I hope your body feels a little bit more cared for and your mind feels a little bit more clear. Take care.